Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton want your guns. So get a safe at thesafeandvaultstore.com. Again, that's thesafeandvaultstore.com. Flash sale. This will not last. Same day shipping on all AMSEC safes, BF series, in stock, limited time. Free shipping, no tax, while supplies last. Call 1-800-207-2259. That's 1-800-207-2259, or click the link below right now. That's safeandvaultstore.com. Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green and you're tuning into AMTV Alternative Media Television. Of course, it is Tuesday, June 21st, 2016. Donald Trump fires his campaign manager, Corey Lewandowski, and another guy steps down in New York, showing internal rifts and signs of instability inside Donald Trump's political operation. Now, prior to this, in fact, Donald Trump was in Phoenix here over the weekend. I've thought that Donald Trump's campaign has even gotten stronger than it was before. But this actually is a warning sign, I have to admit. And again, this is from a guy who predicted, when nobody believed me, that Donald Trump would win the GOP nomination, which he essentially has, at least in theory up until this point, unless they try to steal it from him, but will lose the general election in 2016. Not something I'm happy about. And of course, as I've stated pretty much repeatedly, I hope that I'm wrong. If I wake up in November and Donald Trump actually wins, I'm going to be pleasantly surprised and I'm going to be thrilled. And I'll be the first to admit that I didn't see it coming. But I don't think we have a political system in the United States. That's the point. I think that the two-party system is rigged. I think, just like Donald Trump says, it's all bullshit, right and left. It's a dog and pony show. It's a movie. It's mass entertainment. It's total and utter propaganda. But again, this shows internal rifts in the middle of Donald Trump's political campaign. This really isn't good news, because I don't know why you would shake up something that's been working. I mean, even if there's internal politics and egos at play, it could be Donald Trump's ego, it could be Lewandowski's, who knows, maybe he's a bad apple, who really knows? Still, why shake up something that's been working in droves? It's not a good sign. And Donald Trump has an uphill battle facing off Hillary Clinton in this liberal, leftist, radical supported media, companies like CNN, that fully endorse Hillary Rodham Clinton and fully reject Donald Trump. You know, I don't even believe that Fox News entirely supports Donald Trump. Again, the two-party system is an illusion. It is essentially one party and the whole thing is rigged. It's a movie, kind of like Hunger Games or something like that, or a TV show like American Idol. It's honestly been quite boring. From somebody who can intellectualize and actually see the world for what it is, especially this political dog and pony show, it's been quite boring. There's been nothing about this election cycle over the past few weeks that's caught my interest at all outside of the recent shakeup within Donald Trump's campaign. It's been quite boring. It's been quite predictable until this recent event. Also, George Soros warning of a Black Friday on Brexit fears as soon as this Friday. Yeah, that's right. He's warning of massive collapse as soon as this week. Of course, the UK is voting on whether or not it should leave the defunct, crippled, bankrupt, failed experiment that makes up the Eurozone that's barely been in operation for, less than 20 years or something like that, in that ballpark. Says there could be a total and utter meltdown and collapse in a potential Black Friday this Friday as a result. He said that each United Kingdom household could be affected somewhere in the ballpark of $6,000 to $9,000 in gross income per year, and that the currency itself could collapse anywhere from, I think he said, 20 to 30%. Now, this is from a guy, by the way, who shorted aggressively the pound during the last major UK financial crisis and became a billionaire. Now, I wouldn't trust George Soros at all. In fact, he's probably, I would bet he's on the other side of this trade. That this is just a war of words to help his positioning in whatever derivative investments that he's currently involved in, whether or not it's on the long side or the short side. But, the proof is in the pudding here, folks. At some point, there's going to be a major collapse. This cannot continue infinitum, into infinity. We are 7 to 8 years in the business cycle now of this artificial recovery stimulated by 0% interest rates and the whore at the Federal Reserve that makes up Janet Yellen. And it can't continue forever. We know, for example, this is just math, that business cycles typically last roughly 8 years or so. Maybe they go on 9 years. We are in the 7th to 8th inning now, 8th year in this artificial bullshit recovery. You know, there will be consequences. Just like we had the roaring 20s, and it resulted in the Great Depression and the collapse and stock market crisis of 1929, which took roughly several decades for us to break even again. And it took a world war, World War II. We're positioned for the same thing again. Now, who knows? In this technologically advanced world, parabolic moves in artificial intelligence and the algorithm and big tech companies, who knows? Maybe Ray Kurzweil is right, the transhumanist, that it'll just be parabolic growth and a shift into infinity, and there will never be a reversion to the mean again. We'll just have nanobots living out, through our body. We'll chip all of our kids, take the mark of the beast, take the number 666, and just, ingest these, robotic materials into our body so that we're no longer human, and that we create our own living dystopic hell and live in the digital ghettos that make up Google, Facebook, and Twitter. Isn't that great? That sounds amazing, doesn't it? Well, I actually believe that there are consequences, that there will be a catastrophe, that there will be a come to Jesus moment. Literally, not just figuratively, but literally. I believe that to be the case. And I think it's the equivalent of being on the edge of a freaking cliff. Nothing's changed since 2008 and 2009. They've only doubled down and compounded our problems from where we were before, with massive debt, with an inverted pyramid scheme that makes up baby boomers trying to collect the things that they've rightfully earned, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, all these things, but that can't be paid for by a millennial generation that essentially has no wealth and is a renter society. Notice how we're a leasehold society now, whether or not it's Uber or it's Airbnb or it's with cars. I mean, the millennial generation, I'm not saying this is a bad thing necessarily, but they don't value ownership like the traditional baby boomers did. Buy a house, hold it for 30 years, pay it off, mortgage yourself to the balls, and hope everything's going to be all right so that there can be a collapse in 2008 and you can be stolen from and half of your net worth will liquidate overnight. You see, the millennials have learned their lesson. They're like, that's bullshit. We're not going to do that. We're going to live our lives now. We would rather lease. We would rather Airbnb it or home away it or rent. And a lot of the times they're renting because they can't afford it because prices are sky high due to the artificial demand created by the bullshit system that makes up Federal Reserve policy and printing money into thin air with 0 to negative interest rates. So we have this inversion of the whole model that worked for the last 50 years, the corporate model, which no longer exists. We now live in a freelance society. We live in a society of tech monopolies. That's exactly what they are. Don't be mistaken about that. Google, Facebook, Twitter, Apple, all these companies, Amazon, they are monopolies. But no one seems to care. Didn't they try to break up Microsoft at one point when it had too much power and clout? There's not even a single lawsuit that's really been, at least in the mainstream news that I'm familiar with, litigating any of these companies for holding an absolute monopoly on the global population. Not just here in the United States of America, but globally. It's ridiculous. It's amazing that we've given up all this control and power to essentially robots, to the algorithm, to this, what Ray Kurzweil says, one of the worker bees of Google, these high-powered executives that has like 4 blood transfusions a week and thinks he's going to live to get forever as a transhumanist, says that basically that we're going to reach a singularity and that all of human consciousness will be exceeded by the AI, essentially computers. I personally find this worrisome. I agree with people like Elon Musk, founder of Tesla, SpaceX, and Solar City, that, I don't know if the people of this planet can survive another decade, if not, 100 years or more. It's one of the reasons why he's aggressively expanding into space, into places like Mars, because he literally thinks we need to get off the planet. Stephen Hawking echoes this with his latest, artificial intelligence comment saying it's, something along the lines, it's more dangerous than nuclear weapons. I agree. I actually think it is. Take it from a guy who started a YouTube channel 7 years ago who was laughed at, who now gets calls repeatedly, literally day and night, people wanting me to consult them on how to monetize the internet. They now think I'm a genius. They thought I was an idiot before, but now I'm a freaking genius. This is how fast this technological shift is snowballing, how fast the Eurozone is collapsing. Now, again, I actually think that the UK stays. I think there's a push to stay. We saw this even with the murder of an MP, which looked like a conspiracy to me, what was it, a week ago, which actually helped shift the weight to a stay vote versus a, let's get out of the Eurozone. I actually think the UK stays. I think George Soros is pandering to the mainstream media. I think he's on the opposite side of the trade, even though he's fear-mongering. Ultimately, the New World Order paradigm wants further integration of this system that creates this new structure. They want more and more power. They want to break up sovereignty of nations, destroy countries and their borders. It's exactly why there's been this, enormous debate, not just here in the United States, but also Europe. It's exactly why Barack Obama has engineered covertly and overtly through CIA intelligence operations in the Middle East so that they can destabilize a region so that more immigrants pour over into places like Europe and the United States, which also, by the way, and this was intentional of the Obama administration, promotes jihadi terrorism, because it gives them reason to take away the guns, to execute his gun control narrative and objective, which has been part of his campaign from day one, and push an even greater 1984 dystopic Orwellian society that makes up a lack of control, lack of freedom, lack of liberty in the United States and abroad. Again, they want to integrate all of us. They want to merge us with the technology. We become the peasants, they become the elites. I would argue that these tech giants and these tech figures have already began to merge with the AI. They're already becoming the Borg. And the elites and the lower classes, the middle classes being utterly eradicated, is just going like this. And we're becoming a society where you just don't have money. You have either massive amounts of wealth, like Bill Gates, tremendous amounts of money. Bill Gates makes $20 million a day, by the way, a freaking day. That's how wealthy he is. And then you have everybody else. It's exactly why we've been socialized. They're talking about mandatory income thresholds in the United States and other countries around the world where they had a vote in Switzerland, for example, because they've got to give the peasant something. They've got to throw a couple breadcrumbs as they monopolize the space, which is exactly what we have today. Tech monopolies. So do not be mistaken. This whole election is bullshit. It's a lie, it's a facade, and it's an illusion. It's why I'm disinterested by it. Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton. I mean, are these really the best two candidates we have? I mean, really, honestly, it's a joke. There's much better Americans out there than what's currently presented to us that could represent the United States of America, especially when we look at Hillary Clinton. And again, I favor Donald Trump. I like what Donald Trump's doing, but he will only win if the elites want him to. Your vote doesn't count. It doesn't matter. The only thing that counts are these tech giants that control everything right now, that also rig and control Washington, D.C., politics and banking today. Make no mistake about it. You're not in control. They are. This is what the global agenda is. This is what people like me have been warning about for years now. And it's coming full-blown into fruition like the AIDS virus. It's what we live today. And it's incredibly dangerous, and there will be severe consequences in the not-too-distant future. That's something George Soros is right about. I'm Christopher Green. Get this video out everywhere, make it viral, hard-hitting it in your face, and click the link below to support our sponsor.